Okay, so this is going to be chapter 24 review. So this is the makeup chapter. This is a very important chapter to study, especially if you choose to offer makeup as a service at your salon, or if you want to focus on aesthetics. You'll most likely be doing makeup clients. You can make a lot of money being a makeup artist, especially with bridal services, for sure you can. So starting off on page 812, at the bottom of that very top paragraph, it's the last 3 lines. It says, ultimately, the goal of effective makeup application is to enhance the client's individuality rather than offering a makeover based on some ideal standards. So what they're saying here is that we want to make people look like more like a polished version of themselves. Not everybody likes a full face. Not everybody wants their face completely altered. I find that a lot of brides like to look very natural. Somebody like myself, I love trying out different makeup looks, and I love experimenting, and I like the different techniques, I guess. Whereas normally somebody in general who's coming to you for a makeup service usually does not do a lot of their own makeup. So they want to stick to their comfort zone. A lot of times women will get their makeup done and they'll just feel like out of place because if they get their face like this, like really beat, right? They will feel so out of place and they'll just feel not themselves. So why study facial makeup? Under that little paragraph there, I want you guys to highlight the 4th bulletin. It says highlighting, contouring, and other face shape altering techniques will help you accent your client's best features while minimizing those that are less desirable. So for example, say somebody has a very wide nose. We can do different makeup techniques to make their nose appear slimmer. The high cheekbones are very in, so people always want to make their face look more sculpted than it really is. Other reasons too, we might, like I was saying, just kind of enhance what they have. And a lot of times too, I'm seeing, especially with social media on the rise and everything, and that's how stylists are building their book. A lot of times if they're doing a before and after of their, I guess like the hair that they're doing, a lot of times they'll do the client's makeup as well to really like tie the whole look together. So that could be, an additional, like an add-on service, if you choose. Okay. So different types of makeups and their uses. So foundation, that is going to be the base, the, skin tone portion of makeup over on 813. At the very top, I would like you to highlight where it says the makeup artist may use liquid, stick, cream, or powder foundation, choosing the formula that best suits their client's skin type. And we'll touch on what, the different foundations are best for. So we do have primer as well. This is not something that we normally include in a basic makeup application. Usually I do find that a lot of makeup artists use just moisturizer, not so much primer. So primer, if you want to highlight that definition, is to help disguise less than perfect skin. A lot of times if people have large pores, or if they have acne scars, sometimes they kind of get like little indents in their skin a lot. So what primer does is it goes in and it fills those potholes and it helps the skin be a more smooth canvas. I've actually been watching TikTok videos and I saw this TikTok where this girl, she put on her moisturizer first and then she just did like a super light layer of face powder. She sprayed her face with setting spray and then she put her primer on. And then after the primer and all that, then she would go in with her foundation. I tried it and it's a really cool technique if you guys would like to try something new. So there's another type of primer as well, color correction. So for example, a green color primer would be for somebody who maybe has rosacea, or somebody who has acne, to cover up the red bumps and everything. Very similar to the color wheel that we use for hair color, right? That's why it's extremely important that we're learning the color wheel. For example, under eyes, they tend to be purple, so we would put a yellow concealer underneath. The salmon, it's like a pinkish color, works really well on under eyes as well. I'm trying to think. Sometimes scars can be a little yellow, so you could put purple concealer or purple primer over that to help with that. I'm trying to think what other colors they come in. I know for really dark patches, especially for people who do drag makeup, their skin gets very dark. If they're a male doing a female drag makeup, their skin gets very dark from where their facial hair is. So they'll put orange primer on it to camouflage that. So then foundation chemistry. So we know the two types that seem to be most common are matte, and then usually like a glossier finish. A lot of people call it dewy. And that one's going to be a little bit more oil based. So what I want you guys to highlight under foundation chemistry is non-comedogenic, so meaning it does not contain ingredients that would clog the follicles, aggravating acne-prone skin. So clients with acne-prone skin, a lot of dermatologists recommend that the foundations that they choose are oil-free, non-comedogenic, and hypoallergenic, just because their face tends to be super sensitive. I have acne-prone skin. I just make sure that it's non-comedogenic. I don't really worry about the other stuff too much, because I do find, because I use a primer with my foundation, it kind of blocks the foundation from clogging my pores. But for somebody who doesn't want to do all those steps with their makeup and they just want to wear foundation, definitely recommend that it be oil-free. Typically, water-based foundation is going to be for oily to combination skin. So then we do also have foundation that's going to have SPF in it. Again, this isn't something that a client really has to worry about if their maybe moisturizer has SPF in it. And then mineral makeup as well is extremely popular. This is going to be a powder foundation. It does provide slight coverage, and it evens the skin tone out, but it's not going to be a full face whatsoever. So if you have a makeup client and they want like a full Hollywood glam, probably mineral makeup isn't going to be the best option. I did do makeup at the one salon I worked at. It was Aveda Products. Their makeup is very like natural, and I do believe the foundations that we used were mineral. So then on the next page, 814, we have concealers. So all this is just a thicker, heavier version of foundation. So if you want to highlight that definition, concealers are used to hide dark circles, hyperpigmentation, distended capillaries, and other imperfections. These also, I find, do come in a couple different colors, similar to the primers. You can have corrective concealers. I think LA Girl is a really popular one. I've used a couple of their concealers before. I like it a lot. It's good coverage and all that. So then we have face powders. So this is usually what's going to go on after the liquid foundation. Rule of thumb, wherever you apply something liquid or creamy, for example, cream eyeshadow, cream foundation, liquid foundation, any of that, must be set with something with powder. So if you do a cream eyeshadow, you should set it with a powder eyeshadow. Anywhere where you apply like liquid foundation or concealer needs to be set with powder. Just a little trick, if you have an oily client, maybe, like I was saying earlier, just do a light layer of powder really quick before you apply their foundation, and a lot of times it kind of absorbs that oil a little bit. Also too, a lot of times people, if you are, hey, he's drinking. If you are doing makeup as a service, a lot of times they will include like little goodie bags for their clients, especially if it's their wedding or something. For touch-ups, instead of going back in with powder every time, because that just adds up layers and layers and layers of makeup, a lot of times what people will do is go back and blot it. And that just removes the oil, right? Because we don't need to keep adding layers of powder. Then we have eyeshadows, which this is probably I think it's the most fun part of doing makeup. So eyeshadows are cosmetics used to accentuate the eye shape and complement eye color. So not a whole lot to say there other than, they come in all different finishes. We have mattes, we have metallic, shimmer, there's liquid eyeshadows, there's powder eyeshadows. If you are interested in doing makeup services after you finish school, Morphe, I think, has the best eyeshadows, and I think that it's the most reasonably priced for how good the eyeshadow quality is. So I would say get like 2 or 3 Morphe palettes and you would be good to go with your makeup kit. And then of course we have eyeliners. You guys know this comes in all different variations as well. Liquid, there's gel, cream, pencils, things of that nature. So highlight where it says under eyeliners, where it says eyeliner pencils consist of wax or hardened oil with a variety of additives to create color. Another super old school trick that a lot of people do, and I do sometimes too, depending on the look that I'm going for, is they'll actually take their their pencil eyeliners, and they'll light it with a lighter, and it gets like a jelly, creamy consistency. So when they apply it to the eye, it's a lot more like bold, I guess you could say, and it lasts a little bit longer. With eyebrow or with pencils in general, when we're using them on clients, they're not very sanitary. So if you're going to do an eyeliner pencil on somebody, you have to brush it off onto a like angled brush or something and apply it that way. You don't want to put the pencil directly on their eye because you really can't sanitize them. Then we have eyebrows. So of course we have eyebrow pencils, eyebrow powders, same thing, gels, you name it. With eyebrows, the way they are saying you apply it in the book is to do 3 strokes. And I don't know that it says it here, but it does say it somewhere in this chapter. They're saying you do 1 stroke at the bottom, 1 stroke at the top, and 1 in the middle to fill it in. That's supposed to be 3 lines. And we kind of talked about in the hair removal chapter how to find somebody's shape. If you, again, are building a makeup kit and you don't have a huge budget and you want to save a couple bucks, just use eyeshadows for eyebrows. That's what I do sometimes when I'm doing my own eyebrows. We have cheek colors, so we have blush, bronzer, highlighter, you name it. Again, same thing. These can come in cream forms, gel forms, powder, blah, blah, blah. Sometimes what people will do for different cheek colors, they will use like a darker, like a brown, say they're pale skin like me, they'll use a brown foundation to kind of contour their cheeks, and then they'll do the rest of their makeup with a really light foundation. And also too, cheek colors, for example, blush, it's the same like consistency as eyeshadow. So if you are in a pinch and you needed a pink blush, you could just use an eyeshadow, or vice versa. If you needed a pink eyeshadow, you could use blush. Just because something says it's for this area doesn't mean you can't make do and use it somewhere else. So again, if you're trying to save money when you're building a kit, because it can get expensive, especially when you go and buy all the different shades of foundation, you kind of want to cut corners while you can in the beginning, and then from there once you kind of move up and make a little bit more money from it, then you can invest more in your kit. So then we do have lip color as well. Just like all the other makeups, pretty much comes in all different shapes and sizes. Lip colors can be creams, glosses, gels, and sticks if you want to highlight that under lip color. And then highlight lip liner, which is generally applied to the lip color to define the shape of the lips and keep the color from bleeding. So, yeah, this is usually, I find that pencils usually go on better first, and then you would apply a lipstick and then finish it off with a gloss, depending on what kind of finish you're going for. And then we have mascara. So again, something for the eyes. I think personally that if you don't wear mascara, it feels very unfinished. And I know some people have like eye allergies and their eyes get irritated easily, so they may not always want to wear mascara. And this is a service as well. When I first started out putting mascara on people, I didn't like doing it. I would usually have the client do it themselves, but that's extremely unprofessional. You want to do it for the client because they're paying you to do their makeup, not for them to assist you doing their makeup, if that makes sense. Do your best to completely coat the lashes. And if the client, asks, hey, can I just, get in there? Because they might not feel like you're doing, getting in there enough, that's fine. But you don't want to say to the client, like, hey, can you do this for me? Like, don't, yeah. Over on 816, at the very top, highlight where it says mascara is a polymer product that is formulated with water, wax, thickeners, film formers, and preservatives. So then other cosmetics. So highlight the bolded definition of eye mascara removers. They are special preparations for removing eye makeup. So these are going to be like a water base. They can be oil-based if you guys want to highlight that. I find that oil-based is the best for the eye area because it really gets the mascara out, whereas the water-based, I feel like you have to scrub a little bit harder. Also, too, the other day I found this really cool makeup remover. It's called the Makeup Eraser. It's a reusable makeup rag. It's a microfiber material. And you just get it wet and it completely removes everything. If you do like a toner or skin cleanser afterwards, there's like no makeup left over. It's really cool if you guys want to check it out. I think you can get them at Sephora. I got mine at CVS. You can get them at Amazon too. And then we have grease paint. So this is what they would have used if you guys want to highlight that definition. This is what they use for theatrical makeup, cake makeup, also known as pancake makeup. We talked about this way back in chapter 1, when televisions came to be. People would wear extremely heavy makeup, because otherwise you wouldn't be able to see them on the television. They had to make sure their features were defined, and that's the same thing with theater as well. Sorry, they're bouncing around. So then different makeup brushes as well, if you guys want to look over the different tools and what they're for. There's general things, right, that the brushes are meant for, but again, it's one of those things I feel like you can kind of get multiple uses out of one brush. So the main thing you want to know is that this part is the hair, this is the furl, and then of course this is the handle. So when you're cleaning makeup brushes, my only suggestion is obviously you want to do it in between every client. When you're actually rinsing them under the water, you want the water to be coming down this way. You don't want to hold it like this under the faucet, because then what happens is the water gets down on the inside of the brush. This one's dirty. It gets down on the inside where the hairs and the glue are sticking together, and then it causes the brushes to shed and not last as long. So then once they're completely dried off, I set them upside down like this back in the makeup holder, so that way the water can drip out. Because again, otherwise if you let it air dry like this, the water seeps out and loosens the glue up and the hairs tend to fall out. So then, yeah, this chart right here, all the different brushes. We have the powder brush. I feel this is the brush that I use for blush. This is a blush brush as well. Trying to see. Sometimes people use little ones like this for a blush brush. Concealer brush, typically it's going to be flat like this. And you just get right up under the skin. I also have this really cool concealer brush. It's round and it's kind of like that stipple brush material. We have a lip brush, which I don't have. Eyeshadow brush come in all shapes and sizes. You know, there's the fluffy one. This one's a little bit more dense. I'm trying to see. Yeah. This is like a smudger brush, which is another type of eyeshadow brush. We have the angled brush, which I use as an eyeliner brush. It's usually just a little angle like that. Lash comb. If you're going to use that on a client, I'm making a mess here. I would just suggest using the disposable like mascara wands and tossing them afterwards. Tweezers, like we talked about in chapter 22, very important to keep in your kit because sometimes they might just have like a couple stray hairs that just need cleaned up before you actually start the service. Eyelash curler, obviously like the name suggests, it curls the lashes. So with this, always curl the lashes before you put the mascara on, because if you put the mascara on before you curl it, you want to curl the lashes first and then put on the mascara. If you put mascara on first and then go to curl it, sometimes the mascara sticks to the curler and then it rips a ton of lashes out. I've heard that happen to a lot of people. And then of course a pencil sharpener. Yeah, like I was saying, pencils aren't super sanitary makeup items to have. Some single-use implements you might want in your kit: sponges, powder puffs, which technically we're not allowed to use in Pennsylvania, mascara wands, spatulas, disposable lip brushes, the sponge-tipped eyeshadow applicators. Me personally, I don't think they apply the makeup that well, so that's up to you. Cotton swabs, cotton pads, and puffs as well. So on page 18, under the focus on, highlight the second bulletin. It says, do not apply lipstick or lip gloss directly to the lips from the container or the tube. Same thing with mascara. It's just extremely unsanitary, so that's why they're saying have mascara wands and disposable lip brushes as well. So then color theory for makeup application on page 819 highlights the first sentence in that paragraph. A thorough understanding of color is imperative to becoming an effective makeup artist. So in case you guys forgot, they do have a color wheel on that page as well. So when choosing colors for a client, right, we need to know what's going to be complementary to their skin tone, what's going to be complementary to their hair color, things like that, depending on their personality, what look they're going for. So determining skin colors. So of course we have warm and cool colors. So really cool trick, if you look at your wrist, if the veins are blue, then you're cool toned. If they're green, you're warm toned. And if you see purple or you see a mixture of blue and green, then you're neutral. So you can pull off kind of anything. Also too, if you look better in gold jewelry, then you're warm toned. If you look better in silver jewelry, you're cool skin toned. So we know the warm colors are the red, yellow, and orange, and then our cool colors are blue, green, and violet. So as far as selecting colors, at the bottom of 820, The third paragraph, it says, a neutral skin tone contains equal elements of warm and cool, no matter how fair or deep the skin is. So that's kind of what I was saying. It's a mixture of cool and warm. So let's jump over to... So as far as choosing colors for your clients, if they come to you and they don't know what's going to look good on them, I would say rule of thumb, you want to do cool tone makeup with cool tone clients' skin tone, and warm tones with warm skin tones. But at the end of the day, it's what the client wants. So if they're like, yeah, I know I have a warm skin tone, but I want blue eyeshadow, that's what you have to give them, right? So different face shapes. So we can alter face shapes. Just like with haircuts, we can make somebody's face appear slimmer, blah, blah, blah. So oval shapes, I believe we last talked about them. It would have been chapter, I want to say it was 16 back in the freshman unit, right? When we talked about all the different face shapes. The oval face shape, oh, excuse me, it's getting late. Oval face shape is like the ideal face shape, right? By beauty standards. So at the bottom of 823 there, under oval face shape, highlight where it says, while all face shapes are attractive in their own way, the oval face with well-proportioned features has long been considered the ideal. The face is divided into 3 equal horizontal sections. So their forehead is the same width as their eyebrows to their nose, as from their nose to their chin, right? Over on 824, we have the round face, which we talked about. Highlight where it says the round face is usually broader in proportions to its length. So it's usually going to be more wide in the cheek area, and they do have an example over in the corner on 824. We have the square face, so it's similar to the round face, but with the round face, it's the same width here, and then the top of their forehead to their chin's the same width as well. Then we have triangular face, so usually they have a smaller forehead and a wider jaw. With the triangular face highlight, it says it's characterized by a jawline that is wider than the forehead. Heart-shaped, it's kind of flipped, so their forehead may be a little bit wider than their chin. Their chin might be more narrow. Heart-shaped face, that's usually when somebody has a widow's peak. Diamond face shape, very similar to the round face shape, except they're going to have a small forehead and a small chin, and then they're still going to be wide in the cheeks. And then an oblong face is very similar to an oval face. It's just a little bit longer. So rule of thumb, if they have, and you want to listen to the client and their concerns. If they're telling you that they think they have a big forehead, but you think they have a small forehead, just contour it that it would be most flattering, right? So generally darker tones is going to make the face appear slimmer, and then lighter tones make the face appear brighter. And that's the whole like highlighting, contouring shenanigans. Altering the nose and the chin areas, you want to be mindful when you're contouring the nose. Sometimes we can actually make the nose appear larger than it is. And then jawline too, if somebody has a really wide, for example, the triangular face, if they have a wide jawline, then you would want to make sure you put a contour shade in there as well. And then eye shapes, with round eyes, you want to make sure that you keep the shadow depth more on the outside, the darker shades on the outside. And then if they have large eyes, like protruding, or it says bulging eyes. Putting darker shades closer to the inner corner of the lid will actually kind of bring their eyes down a little bit. So if they say to you like, hey, I feel like I have really big eyes, then that's one way we could alter that. Over on 827, they do talk about the eyebrow shape again, which we kind of already talked about that in chapter 22. So yeah, same thing like we talked about then. It's going to go from the nostril straight up. That's going to be where your eyebrow starts. Then you're going to tilt it and you're going to go through the pupil. That's where your arch should be. And then you're going to go and line it up with the end of your eye, and that's where your brow should end. And that's how you determine somebody's eyebrow shape. So too, there's different ways we can alter the lip shape as well. If somebody has smaller lips, you can overdraw the lips. I would just be mindful how far you're overdrawing them, because it might look, some people might, not like how it looks, blah, blah, blah. And that's when I find that the lip liner comes in place, because then if you go, I feel like if you go in with just lipstick or lip gloss, the lines don't look as even and so on. Camouflaging techniques. This is something you would get into if you chose to do special effects makeup. Or another scenario is if you had a client who had say they had a tattoo on their neck or something, and they're getting married and they don't want it to be visible because like their grandma doesn't know about it or something, then you could do camouflaging as well. There's a special type of concealer. It's camouflaging concealer. Kat Von D has a really good one. So basically it's just, you put the concealer on, you put powder on, you put another layer of concealer on, another layer of powder until the color's completely gone from the tattoo. And this is too when color correcting comes in to play. So if you look on page 828, they have an example of a red tattoo. You could put green color correcting makeup on before you even do the camouflaging as well. So over on 830, again, they talk about the client consultation, which is extremely important with any service, especially makeup service. If you had a client who was getting married, you want to make sure that you have the same vision in mind as them. Lighting, we need to keep in mind. Always have some kind of ring light. It'll look like this when you're doing their makeup, and then you can really see everything. If it's a wedding, probably you're going to be doing makeup during the day, so you want to make sure you get a good spot in the bridal suite where the sun's shining just the right way. You do want to make sure whatever setting that they're going to be in that's the lighting that you're doing their makeup in. So if they're going to be outside, do their makeup in the sunlight. If they're going out to the club, you can get away with doing their makeup in a little bit of a not as nice lighting scenario. Yeah. Okay, on 831, I just want you to highlight at the top. It's like the third line at the very top. It says there should be no obvious line of demarcation where foundation begins and ends. And that's something that if you struggle with on doing other people's makeup, it kind of gets easier over time. You just have to make sure that everything's completely blended out, and I think that beauty blenders help the best with that. And at the bottom of 831, highlight where it says, it's figure 2442, apply loose powder with a powdered brush to set the foundation. You'll need to know that. On 832, under applying foundation, highlight where it says, when applied to the lids, eye color or shadow makes the eyes appear brighter and more expressive. And then a highlight color is a lighter than the client's skin tone and may have a matte or iridescent finish. And those come in all different tones too. You can get a warm toned highlighter, you can get a cool toned highlighter. You just want to make sure you pick the right one for whatever look you're going for. Applying eyeliners at the very bottom of 832, highlight where it says sharpen the eyeliner pencil and wipe it clean before each use to minimize the chance of cross contamination. I personally would just say don't use them at all because I don't think they're that sanitary. On 833, under applying mascara, highlight where it says if you are using an eyelash curler, you must curl the lashes before applying mascara, which we already talked about that. Applying artificial lashes. So a lot of times if you choose to do makeup, I would definitely suggest getting comfortable with applying false lashes on other people because you can charge like an additional $10 for something that takes you 2 seconds to do. And you can buy lashes in bulk too, which is really awesome. We have individual lashes as well, and then so they're not talking about the individual lashes that you might think they're talking about. They're actually talking about little cluster lashes. And a lot of times these are another form of temporary lashes that last a little bit longer than the strip lashes. Or you can use them just to kind of maybe fill in some potholes or, you know what I mean? Just maybe you want a little bit more bulk at the base, at the end of their lashes. Then you could put a couple clusters in there. And that's pretty much all I have for you guys for makeup. I feel like a lot of you guys are pretty comfortable with makeup and know how to apply it, especially with all the YouTube people, with especially like Jeffree Star and all those guys. So again, if you guys have any questions about the makeup chapter, feel free to shoot me a text. We will be testing on it Saturday, which I guess is tomorrow or today, depending on when you're watching this. So yeah, I will talk to you guys later. Okay, bye.